Welcome to Build. I'm Laura Haywood. If you ever wondered what the biggest perk of fame is, today's guest has the answer. Marilyn Michaels, who started performing at the tender age of 4, has filled a whole book with tales of the food, drinks, and famous company that have come along with a successful career in show business. Here to discuss how to not cook for the rest of your life is the iconic actress, singer, and comedienne Marilyn Michaels.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The first thing I want to do, Marilyn...
I paid them for this. They're doing really well. You know, you mentioned fame, and a really nice guy took me down here. He's a Chinese driver, you know. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. And he said, oh, are you famous? You famous? I said, I don't know, you know, maybe. And then he said, I'm from China. I said, do you know Barbra Streisand, you know? He said, no, I don't know that. I said, what, you don't know? I said, do you know Marilyn Monroe? He said, no. He didn't know Marilyn Monroe. He said, I'm from China. Mm-hmm. I said, well, it's okay. Don't you watch American movies, you know, in China? He said, oh, you know, no, not too much. So I said, well, have you ever heard of Lady Gaga? He said, oh, yeah, I know that one. So, you know, it's relative.
Well, we haven't watched, you know, you may not know his favorite movie stars either. But for the first thing I want to do is welcome you home, because we're on 4th Street in New York City.
How did you know this?
And you grew up on 4th Street in New York City.
I can't believe you know this.
Yeah, I did my research.
Oh, my, you really know your stuff.
So how has the neighborhood changed since you remember it when you were a kid?
Well, I was more toward East 4th. Well, it is East 4th.
Yeah, we're on East 4th Street.
East 4th Street.
4th and Broadway, 2nd Avenue is just a couple
2nd
blocks
Avenue.
away.
Yeah, second-hand rose I'm wearing. You know, should I do my Barbra Streisand now? You told me that you wanted
Hey,
me.
we'll take it all.
Yeah, no, this was a great way to grow up. You know, it was the hub of... And the kids won't know this. It was the Yiddish theater, and it was a very exciting time because there was that whole culture down there. And then there was also, you know, an Italian. There were a lot of Italian people. Hey, bada boom, bada bum. And there was a Chinese neighborhood too there. Everything was going on down here, but it was mostly Jewish when I grew up.
And your mother was involved in the Yiddish theater,
yes,
right?
I can't believe you know.
Well, I know your father was a metropolitan, like a bass, and what do they call basso? In
yes,
the
a basso profondo. That's right, very Russian.
So you were going uptown, downtown, everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And how did you start performing at 4?
Well, my mother was a performer, so she'd go on tour, and it was like I missed her, and I didn't want her to go, and I said, if you keep going, I was about 7 years old, I said, you keep going on tour, and I'm never going to eat again. Mm-hmm. So that's not like, you know, mothers don't want to hear, especially Jewish mothers don't want to hear that you're not going to eat. So she took me on tour with her. I was 7 years old, and I started to perform.
So it was all about food even then.
Yeah, I was like a little show brat, you know. Mm-hmm. But that's how it started, and then it never stopped.
You were a bit of a prodigy.
That's what exactly. I was a child prodigy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still a child prodigy. I mean, nothing changes. Can we talk? I mean, really? Oh, please. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? Do you know who this is? Do you know it? Yes.
I know that one. That's Joan Rivers.
Yes, absolutely. So, and terrific comedian. We miss her. She was wonderful.
This book is filled with incredible stories, a lot of them about food, and a lot of them about the people that you ate food with or didn't, as the case may be.
That's right.
From Don Rickles to Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
You knew everybody. Sammy Davis Jr. was a good friend of yours.
Yeah, well, Sammy was like my mentor. Mm-hmm. You know, he started me out in the business. And I did Hullabaloo with Sammy Davis, but I had a strange experience with him because, you know, we were let's hug. We did a great show. Let's hug, let's kiss, ba 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 ba. And we did that, and the producer came over, Gary Smith, and he said, you can't do that. And he was whispering to me. I said, what do you mean I can't do it? He said, if you do that, we're going to lose the South. And I was shocked because I wasn't brought up that way. So it was very, very strange. And that was, we couldn't do it. We couldn't have any physical contact whatsoever, you know, maybe a handshake. But, I mean, that's how things were then, you know.
Well, thank goodness times have changed.
And then I worked with Michael Jackson on the
when he was a little boy,
show.
right?
Yeah. I held that little face in my hands, you know. He was about 10 or 11. What a beautiful child. You know?
You sure have stories about all of the greats.
I do. I mean, who's in that? My God, Elizabeth Taylor is in it, and I mean, she was my favorite. And of course, Liza, wonderful old mama. Liza, she was terrific. Everything is terrific, and Mama's terrific. So I had a lot of fun working with Liza.
And what was it that Julie Andrews said to you?
Julie said, I went to see Julie Andrews when she was performing at Westbury, and I was doing an impression of her for years. And she said, oh, she said, Marilyn, I knew that I arrived when you did me. Oh, which was such a nice thing. I mean, they're really flattered, you know, except for Barbara Streisand, who said, I don't look that way. I don't talk that way. I mean, that's, you know, I don't know why you're doing that. I don't dress that way. But I think that, I mean, she doesn't care anymore. You know, she's so rich, she doesn't care what I do. You know? I write about her in the book. How not to cook for the rest of your life.
And look at this beautiful cover.
Isn't that nice? I know. Oh, my God. Do I still look like that? I hope so.
I recognize you.
Oh, that's good.
What are your favorite places in New York City at which to not cook? Like, where do you go to eat when you
I go
want
to
not
coffee
cook?
shops.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I'm one of those ladies who sit in coffee shops in the back and eat blintzes and and things like that, you know, and any kind of sandwich, you know, Reuben. And I feel really comfortable. I occasionally go to an expensive restaurant, but very rarely. It's mostly neighborhood places, you know. I don't like anything where I have to stand on my feet with a tray, you know. That is very unpleasant. I mean, going to a restaurant, I want to sit down, bring me the food, you know what I mean? I don't want, so that's kind of how I live my life in New York.
Yeah.
Because New York is very expensive. And a lot of the book is saying, because I order up all the time, I mean, the book is about ordering food up and not cooking at all. I mean, I order up like sometimes 2 meals a day, you know, a sandwich, dinner, but it's expensive. So how do you do that? And the book tells you how to save money so you can live my lifestyle. Oh, gosh, oh, golly gee.
Yeah, but you want people to give up things like going to a hairdresser.
Yeah,
like,
I don't go. I do my hair myself.
I mean, it looks fantastic.
Do you like it?
Yeah, but I don't know that I could do that.
I am like so unbelievable. So
Is that a specific impression, or is that just like your generic Valley
I'm
girl?
Like so talented. And I do my hair myself. I do my nails myself. I do my toenails myself. Everything is so. I couldn't make my own baby, but other than that, I do it. Yeah, everything. Except the cooking. But I save money doing these other things. So, I mean, I don't spend a lot on shoes. You know, there's a big, like, shoe thing, you know. Shoes.
You're not wearing Louboutins?
No, these are my most expensive shoes, so I definitely want to show these shoes. These shoes were like, they're called Beauty Fit. I'm giving them a plug. I love these shoes.
Do it. Maybe they'll send you some free ones.
I want some shoes. Hey, guys, an Israeli company, send me the shoes because I don't do it. I wear, you know, sneakers and little booties. So now I have the opportunity to wear these shoes today. Very rare.
Well, they look fantastic.
Oh, good.
So, you know, I'm a big fan of the theater, and you have one of these iconic stories about being called up to do the part. A couple months after you were in Funny Girl, you did the National Company.
Yes,
you
headlined
really
it. Know everything. My God, you're amazing.
What can I say? Well, look, it's important when you come in that I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And I want to get people. I want to get you to tell the stories that I know, but the audience doesn't know.
Okay.
So you'd done the National Company of Funny Girl, and then someone else was doing it, and there was an accident. What happened next?
Yeah, well, the National Company means that I was doing Funny Girl while Barbara Streisand was doing it here in the city at the Winter Garden Theater. And the show was very, very successful. But we didn't go to New York. We went out to L.A. to the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion where they do the Oscar show now. And it was all very Hollywood, which it is like so Hollywood here in the studio. I'm like dying. They have like, I could have spent the weekend here. Hello? It's great in there.
We got plenty of snacks.
It's just great. And snacks. Hello? Hello? One ringy dingy. too ringy dingy, so I can't live without my snacks. Okay, so I'm doing the show. I came back, the show's done, and they had hired lovely lady Carol Lawrence, who was the first Maria in West Side Story. And do you know? Oh, very talented. Chita Rivera, and Carol Lawrence. She was just great. She was on the Tonight Show, and she had a spill. She hurt herself. So what are they going to do? Westbury Theater in the round, 3,000 people. It was good. She was sold out. So they called me last minute. It was very showbiz. They called me. Can you come in? Can you do this? And my manager at the time was a guy named Jerry Weintraub, who was like a real big shot.
He became a producer.
A big producer. He produced Nashville and all the movies. He was something else. He knew Elvis, Sinatra. He produced all these guys, so he knew how to ask. He got a lot of money for me. It was my payday to do that, and I ran. They sent a limo, and I ran to do the show. I had never rehearsed it. I didn't know the actors. It was like a dream. I was having like a dream that I had I had my costumes. I wore my own costumes.
Well, when you were doing the show as part of the national company, you were doing it on a proscenium stage, which is sort of what we picture as like a normal stage.
Yes.
But the company where was Carol? Did she take over the national company,
No,
was it a different?
Carol was just doing it at Westbury. She had a deal to do it at Westbury.
Sit-down deal there.
And Westbury, the theater there is in the round.
Which means there are seats on all sides of the stage.
It's all round. And I had never worked that way before. I was used to having what we have here now. We have an audience straight ahead, and it's great. But this way, I would say a line, and the guys all back here would miss the line. So I had to come out as a pregnant bride and sing, I am the beautiful reflection of my love's affection. And I had a big pillow underneath my gown. And I would show it, and I'd get a big laugh. But no one laughed in the back because they didn't see it. So I figured out that I would turn around. And I turned around slowly. So as I turned around, they start laughing, and the laugh would just go around. It was the most thrilling thing.
And you had no rehearsal for that?
No rehearsal at all. It was like I was on automatic pilot.
I can only imagine that the ensemble really came through for you in a big way.
they were happy. I saved their asses on that, let me tell you.
I believe that that's called is shove with love. When someone hasn't rehearsed the choreography, the ensemble members will just tuck you into place.
I mean, you have dreams about this. Actors have dreams about this. They're going to end up doing something that they've never done before, and they don't know the lines, they don't know the people, and they have to kiss somebody. But it was fabulous. It worked out. Mm-hmm. I knew this stuff really well.
And how long were you with that production?
It was 2 weeks.
And then Carol was better. And
then Carol, no, she didn't go back to it.
She didn't?
No, she didn't.
You finished it out?
Yeah, I did it.
So as I was reading this book, and especially about your the work you did early on as a stand-up and on stage and with your impressions,
right?
The thing that kept coming to my mind is this new incredible TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yes.
Have you watched that show?
I have watched the show.
Does it remind you of what you were doing in your early days? Because I could hear a lot of your work in her voice or her.
Everybody's saying that to me. But have you seen this? And it reminds me of you, blah, blah, blah. Because I guess in a way I was a bit trailblazer, is that, doing comedy. But I didn't do stand-up.
Right.
I did singing impressions,
Yeah, but you also, you got up and you bantered with the audience before you'd start singing,
Absolutely.
and that was kind of stand-up.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, it does. It brings me back to that whole time. It was such a glorious time in comedy. It was a very exciting time. And, of course, they go to the Catskills.
Right, and you have this history with the Catskills?
They go to Catskills, where I went, and that was great. Some of the comedy, and I mean, they're going to hate me. Oh, Marilyn, she was such a bitch. Some of the stories are like a little contrived, I like the first season very much, and the second season I'm not into it yet. But I hope that I'll get into it.
Well, I definitely, as I was reading your book, was sort of wondering whether the show was inspired by you a little bit.
And well, maybe it was. It was. The thrill of working with some of the people and I talk about this in the book a lot, working with Joan Crawford. Does anybody remember Joan Crawford in here today?
Of course.
No, it's like a cartoon with the eyes and the nose. You know, unbelievable that I got to work with that Joan, you know, Christina. She was, you know, unbelievable. How to get into the act. And Betty Davis, all these iconic, just most amazing iconic people. Woody Allen, you know, a lot of Woody is in the book. And some kind of, some stuff that I had written for Us magazine, and then I moved it around and used some of the stories about Woody and Mia and all that kind of thing. That was problematic, working with Woody Allen. It was very thrilling. But I thought he was going to, you know, take me instead of Mia Farrow. But anyway,
well,
that didn't quite work out.
The book is deep with stories. I actually, as I was reading it, I started with like a pink highlighter, and I was like, you know, circling all the names of the famous people. Like, maybe I'll ask her about this.
Really?
Maybe I'll ask her about this.
Who?
Oh, I mean, look, I have it right here. It's
yeah.
just, it's the whole thing is filled with pink marker now.
It is. Oh, and
yeah. Like on this page alone, Dom DeLuise, Don Rickles, Sammy Davis.
Yeah.
You know,
even Bill Cosby. Oh, hello. Oh, come on. Oh. Yes. Dr. Ruth, very cute, very sweet, right? Lily Tomlin, hello. Oh, just, I mean, this has been my life, you know. So.
And we'll let people buy the book to read the story about you posing for Playboy.
Playboy, right? Hugh Hefner and the Munchkins. That's right. They were. You know that I was surrounded by two Munchkins.
Yes, I read that.
I was on a hill
for the Playboy
with just these things covering my boobs, and they wanted me to do nudity. You know, they give you a little bit of how about a little wine? You know, they want to loosen you up. You know.
My gosh.
So, but all my life, and I had these topless pictures that they took, and my tits look good. Come on, okay? But it was like I said, you know, this was way before I had my son. And by the way, who co-wrote the book with me? My son Mark.
I saw that.
Really talented. I got to come back on here so he can do Robert De Niro and brilliant Woody Allen and Dustin Hoffman. He does all these.
I saw some YouTube videos from the Friars Club of.
Oh, you did? You saw that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, that was for Jerry Lewis. I was the only gal that Jerry invited to do that. That was really kind of thrilling.
Well, I want to give the audience a chance to ask you a couple of questions. Yeah, we've got time for a few.
Oh,
hi. Over here.
Over here.
So, what inspired you to write this book with your son?
what'd she say?
What inspired you to write this book with your son?
Well, a lot of things, but the main thing, you know, this is a lot about female independence, okay? So, I mean, you have sex with someone, and invariably, someone who says, honey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I fix anything for you? Who do you think is the person that says that, the man or the woman? It's the woman. I mean, 9 out of 10 times it's the woman who goes in. Right after sex, you have to make a tuna fish sandwich immediately. So I sort of think, I don't want to do that. You know, why don't they make a sandwich for me? You know, so that was one of the things. There's so many things that I rant about in it, like, you know, thongs, that we have to wear thongs, and then it's so uncomfortable. Oh my God, I want that thing in the middle of my ass. Feels terrible. It's just, it really is awful. I mean, who wears those things, you know? Or not eating food and being really thin, which I wish that I was really, really thin. But I mean, you know, movie stars, I know you have a lot of movie stars on this show, when we pay them to starve themselves. That's why they're thin. They're getting paid to be that way. I rant about a lot of stuff like that. Doing as much as you can for yourself so that you can take more taxis and order more food out, that kind of thing. You have to read the book. You're going to howl. It is, I say without any humility and all sincerity, it's probably one of the funniest books you'll ever read.
Let's take another question.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, are you cute? You got
you.
Oh, you just came right over. Wow. Tell me.
So being an early pioneer in comedy, especially in New York City for women, did you look up to anyone as an inspiration, or were really just kind of following your own tuition, kind of in the early
Yes,
days of
yes.
comedy?
I looked up to there were a number of people that I've admired tremendously through the years. First of all, there's singers, Judy Garland, and there was a gal named Edie Gourmet who was one of the all-time really a great belter, great singer. And then Barbra Streisand. I write a lot about Barbara and meeting her and how she affected me in my life, and there are some funny stories. There's a lot of kinky stuff too. But yeah, I admired these gals, and I admired Lily Tomlin very much, and Carol Burnett, and Lucille Ball. And I write about everybody, having finally met them. It's kind of exciting when you finally get to meet them, So.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. He just popped right up. Isn't that cute?
I know. We have a good crowd around these parts.
Yeah, they're
And
so cute.
We have time for one more question.
Okay.
Hi, so this is actually going to be an online question submitted from our website.
Yeah.
So Andrea wants to know, what are your thoughts on the state of comedy in today's world?
There are always good people. There are always talented people who come up, and I can't think of any at the moment, but I know that Bill Burr, and there's some really good talented people. But I come from a world where we created comedy. People like Sid Caesar and Robin Williams. I miss Robin so very much. I write about him a little bit in the book. Jonathan Winters, geniuses. There's a much more open thing about the words you can use, the expletives that you can use. You can do more of that today. The only thing I don't like is when they build their whole act around what. I don't want to say it here because then I won't be asked back. But they build their whole act around it, and that's not what the craft is about. The craft is being able to be funny without using the words, and then you can kind of, you can use it a little bit if you need to punctuate something. How's that? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Do you watch
You're so cute.
Do you watch the comedy specials on Comedy Central and Showtime and Netflix? Are you keeping up with the current stand-up routines?
I do. Yeah, I watch. I've been following Amy Schumer a lot.
You mention her in the book?
Yes, I do, and I like her very, very much. And she's talented and she's fun. I enjoy her. I think she's wonderful. I like that she's very open and that she talks about women and for women, and she's really not afraid to say anything. I appreciate that very much.
Well, I'm sure she'd be very flattered to hear that you're a fan. I'm sure she counts herself amongst your thousands and thousands and thousands of fans as well.
Oh, you're so darling.
As does everyone in this room. It really has been an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody buy How Not to Cook for the Rest of Your Life by Marilyn Michaels and Mark
You
Wilk.
will so love it. You will so scream. I swear, you will say, oh, God, I saw this woman. I don't know who the hell she is. And this book is so funny. It's so great.
Marilyn, thank you for being here. Now let's go get some snacks.
Do you want me to come out of my shell? I got them to laugh. Now,
Of course you did.
And I didn't say one dirty word. Did I say a dirty word? No, not yet.
You could have if you'd wanted to.
No, it's good being here.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor having you.
Thank you, sweetie.